You know, meetings can be either the most productive part of your day or, let's be honest, the biggest waste of it. What's the difference? It all comes down to a clear process. So today, we're going to break down the entire life cycle of a successful meeting, from before it even starts to the follow-up, so you can make every single minute count. Let's dive in.
Come on, you know the feeling, right? Ever felt a meeting could have been an email? We have all been there. You're sitting in that meeting, it's just wandering all over the place, and you're thinking, why am I even here? It's a huge frustration, but guess what? It is totally solvable. There's a structure, a system that can make sure your meetings are not just effective, but actually necessary. So let's build that system together, one piece at a time.
Okay, so first up, before the meeting starts. And this is so important. The meeting doesn't actually start when everyone sits down. Nope, it starts way before that, with the prep work. Honestly, success or failure is pretty much decided right here. If you nail this part, everything else just flows.
So, what's the absolute #1 rule? Every single meeting needs a goal. This is your why. What is the point of this get-together? You could also call it a target. And here's the test. If you can't say what you need to achieve in one simple sentence, you probably don't need the meeting. Seriously, think of it as your first and most important filter. And once you have that goal, the path forward is actually pretty simple. See how this works? First, you define that goal. That goal then tells you what the topic needs to be. And once you have the topic, well, then you can draft the agenda for the conversation. It's a straight line.
Okay, so the agenda? This is your how. Think of it as the roadmap for your meeting. It's the plan that keeps everyone focused, on track, and, actually moving in the same direction. And here's the pro tip. Sending a clear agenda out before the meeting, that respects everyone's time and lets them come prepared, which means you're going to have a way better discussion.
All right, prep work is done. Now we're moving on to running the meeting. This is where the magic happens. It's all about guiding that discussion, keeping an eye on the clock, and making sure everyone's contribution is actually pushing you towards that goal you set earlier.
For a meeting to run smoothly, everyone has to know what their job is. First, you've got the chairperson. Now, this person isn't a dictator, okay? They're more like a guide, a facilitator, just keeping things on track. And then you've got the participants. And this is not a passive role. Your job is to bring ideas, ask questions, and really get into the discussion. Both are absolutely essential.
I love this quote. The art of conversation is the art of hearing as well as of being heard. And that just nails it, doesn't it? A great discussion isn't just about who's talking the most. It's about listening. When everyone in the room feels like they're being heard, and they're also hearing what others have to say, that's when the really good stuff starts to happen.
So, how do you fuel a good discussion? Well, with good information, of course, and that's often where a presentation comes in. It's just a structured way to share the key data, the results that everyone needs to see to have an informed conversation and make a smart decision.
And a picture really is worth 1,000 words. I mean, look at this. Using a simple visual, like a graph or a chart on a slide, can show you complex results in like 2 seconds. Who wants to dig through a giant spreadsheet? With this, everyone can see the trend at a glance. It just makes the data click.
So this is the so what moment. This is where all that data turns into an actual plan. The results you just saw directly inform your strategy. And look, a good strategy isn't some vague, fluffy idea. It's a list of clear, actionable things you're going to do based on the facts you just discussed.
Okay, deep breath. The meeting's over. But, and this is a big but, the work isn't. This is where so many teams drop the ball. This final phase, after the meeting ends, is all about making sure that great conversation actually turns into action. If you skip this, the meeting was, well, just a nice chat.
So what was the whole point of the meeting? To make a decision. This is the main thing you should walk away with. It's the tangible result you are working toward. Remember that why we talked about at the very beginning? The decision is the answer to that question.
So, you've made a decision. Great, but how do you make sure it actually sticks and everyone remembers it the same way? You write it down. That's what the minute is for. It's the official record of what was talked about and, most importantly, what was decided. This one simple document keeps everyone on the same page and holds us all accountable. And this timeline just lays it all out perfectly. Look, it all starts with a decision you made in the meeting. Then, pretty quickly, the minute gets sent out. That kicks off a project. And that project has clear steps and, super important, a deadline. This is how you keep the momentum going and actually get things done.
Okay, let's bring this all home. We've gone through the whole life cycle. So what does a successful meeting actually look and feel like?
It's way more than just ending on time. It really comes down to a few key things that signal a truly professional outcome. And if there's one thing that is absolutely non-negotiable, it's this: clarity. Everything has to be clear. From that first goal you set to the final notes you send out, there can't be any confusion. When communication is 100% clear, everyone knows exactly what they need to do next. Simple as that.
So here they are, the 4 big qualities of success. It's got to be professional in how it's run. The communication has to be super clear. When you have those 2 things, the meeting becomes effective, meaning it actually hits its goal. And all of that leads to a real achievement. A tangible result, like a plan or a problem solved.
I want to leave you with this thought because it's so important. Effective is not a goal, it is a result. You don't just try to have an effective meeting. Instead, you focus on being prepared, on being clear, on being action-oriented. And if you do all those little things right, being effective is just what happens. It's the natural outcome.
So my question for you is this: what is the one thing you're going to change for your very next meeting? Just one thing. Are you going to set a clear goal, send out that agenda ahead of time, or maybe make sure you send a follow-up minute? Just pick one. Because honestly, the power to make your meetings so much better, it's completely in your hands.